Lythe Pillay, 23 years old. South Africa. A man who had never won a major individual global medal. For 33 years, nobody on Earth had matched what Michael Johnson did in a single relay leg. Until now. Lythe Pillay was born on February 25, 2003, in South Africa. He grew up in Johannesburg, watching track and field from a country that did not always expect to produce world-class quarter-milers. His coaches were patient with him from the start, building his time slowly. 46.76 seconds at 15 years old, 46.26 at 16, 45.53 at 18. Steady, controlled, no shortcuts. One man changed everything Pillay thought was possible. Wade van Niekerk, the South African who broke the 400-meter world record at the Rio Olympics in 2016, made a generation of young South Africans believe that greatness was not only possible from their country, it was coming. Pillay has said it directly. To a large part, I am here because of Wade. We always thought it was the Americans or the Europeans that were made for the sport, then we saw someone do it in our own backyard. That spark sent Pillay into a decade of work. His mother, Beverly, had been a sprinter in high school. By 19, Pillay had won the World Under 2400-meter title in Cali, Colombia, in 2022, becoming the best young quarter-miler on the planet. He had become, as he said himself, a member of a new generation of South African sprinters who were pushing each other to places none of them had reached before. But there was a persistent frustration in the individual event. At the Paris 2024 Olympics, Pillay was eliminated in the 400-meter semifinals. At the 2025 World Championships, the same result. Semifinals, out. A man who looked like a future individual champion, but could not yet crack the final when the whole world was watching. His individual personal best stood at 44.31 seconds, a time that makes him one of the best quarter-milers on the planet, and yet still one step short of a global medal on his own. He had run 44.32 seconds in March 2026 at the CGA Championships in Johannesburg, the world lead at that point in the season. The speed was there. Something was waiting to come out. To understand what happened on May 3, 2026, you have to understand just how far back the old record goes and just how insane it was. August 22nd, 1993. Stuttgart, Germany. The World Athletics Championships. The United States had put together one of the greatest 4x400-meter relay teams ever assembled. Andrew Valman, Quincy Watts, Butch Reynolds, and Michael Johnson. Johnson anchored. He grabbed the baton and ran 42.94 seconds, the final leg of a relay that set a world record of 2 minutes, 54.29 seconds that still stands today. Think about what that number means. The world record in the individual 400 meters, run from a completely standing start with full preparation and fresh legs, is 43.03 seconds. Johnson's relay leg, taken with a running start, was faster than that, not slightly, by nearly a tenth of a second. No one in 33 years of global competition had come within the same breadth of that mark. What was universally agreed on was this: 42.94. Michael Johnson, Stuttgart. Touch it if you can. No one could. Not for 3 decades. Not at the Olympics, not at the World Championships, not anywhere. A number that sat there, untouched, year after year, almost daring someone to try. The field events changed. New spikes arrived. Track surfaces improved. Times across sprinting events fell. And yet, every 4 years at the Olympics, every 2 years at the Worlds, and every relay race in between, that 42.94 sat exactly where Johnson left it. Untouched. 33 years. Bulletproof. The 2026 World Athletics Relays arrived in Gaborone, Botswana on May 2nd and 3rd, making it the very first time the World Relays had ever been held on African soil. The setting alone carried weight. This was a nation that had pushed the United States to the absolute brink in the 4x400 at the Paris Olympics, securing silver by a mere tenth of a second in one of the finest relay performances Africa had ever seen. The national stadium in Gaborone was packed. The home crowd had come to see Botswana run in front of their own people for the first time at a world relay event. The United States did not enter the men's 4x400-meter final. That decision left Botswana, South Africa, and Australia to fight it out for the podium in what would become one of the fastest relay races in history. The crowd had no idea what was about to happen. Botswana sent out a lineup that featured two of the most decorated 400-meter runners in recent global history. Lythe Pillay, the Olympic 200-meter gold medalist, and Colin Kebinat-Shippey, the reigning world 400-meter champion. Their quartet, Lythe Pillay, Tebogo, Bayapo Ndori, and Kebinat-Shippey, was built to go fast on home soil. They did. South Africa's team was anchored around Pillay. He would run the second leg. When Pillay took the baton, South Africa was in the race. The crowd was loud, the clock was running. What came next was something the sport had not seen in 33 years. Pillay flew. His 42.66 seconds was not just fast. It was the fastest relay leg any man had ever run in the 4x400 meters, faster than Michael Johnson's 42.94, faster than anything anyone had produced in a 400-meter relay leg since the event was invented. The difference between the two marks is 0.28 seconds. In the 400 meters, that is an eternity. South Africa crossed the finish line in 2 minutes and 55.07 seconds, the fifth fastest 4x400-meter relay time in history, taking the silver medal. Australia finished third in 2 minutes and 55.20 seconds, itself the sixth fastest relay time ever. Botswana won in 2 minutes and 54.47 seconds, the third fastest 4x400 meter in history, behind only the two times the United States set in 1993 and 2024. The entire podium rewrote the history books in a single race. But the number that stopped the sport cold was Pillay's, 42.66. South Africa had finished second. They did not win the race. But in the second leg, a 23-year-old from Johannesburg did something no man on earth had done in over 3 decades. He outran Michael Johnson's ghost. Pillay's relay split does not erase the frustration of individual semifinals exits. It does not change the fact that he has yet to stand on a podium alone in a major individual 400-meter final. But it proves something essential. The speed needed to do that is there. The athlete who ran 42.66 with a baton in his hand can run with any man alive over 1 lap of the track. A split that fast, under pressure, on the biggest relay stage in the world is not a fluke. It is a picture of what Pillay is actually capable of when everything lines up. The question is no longer whether Pillay has what it takes. The question is when he puts it all together individually. The South African sprint revolution that Wade van Niekerk ignited a decade ago keeps producing results. Pillay himself has described it as a ripple effect, one breakthrough that has brought South Africa to a place where multiple runners are now producing world-class times on a regular basis. That environment made this moment possible. He has already said, "I know that I can do more." He has spoken about having a point to prove in 2026. On May 3rd in Gaborone, he proved one part of it in spectacular fashion. The World Athletics Ultimate Championship in Budapest arrives in September 2026. Pillay is no longer just the relay specialist. He is the man who ran 42.66 seconds. Every opponent will know what his legs are capable of delivering. Michael Johnson's split lasted 33 years. It survived every era. Then a 23-year-old from Johannesburg took a baton and buried it. The new standard. The biggest stages are still ahead of him.